silence. Every time that you breathe, my fear starts to decay. I know you're scared of going deeper, underestimating my heart.
All right, hey everybody, Bryan here from Podcast Derbia. Gonna do a kind of first stream, introductory stream for the new show that I've been talking about. Working on my space right now, so it's a work in progress. But still haven't quite figured out what I'm going to do with the walls behind me, and the stream stuff over here will adjust as time goes on. But anyway, welcome to what I'm calling Bryan's Guitar Workshop. And basically it's going to be a location where I'm just going to hang out and do some stuff on my guitars, either be playing, maybe do some work on them, or just having general conversation. Goal of the show is that I would have a community where people can get together and we can talk about instruments, we could talk about music, and we could talk about just the love of all things music. So it's, open to people who play instruments, don't play instruments, whatever it may be. So the plan is kind of to satisfy just the love of music. But in the meantime, I figured, I'm going to tell a lot about my history playing guitar and other instruments. I'm going to talk about my history just of my musical tastes, and hopefully strike up some conversation with the community regarding those things. So in the meantime, though, I'm going to go ahead and throughout the streams is talk about the instruments I own, instruments I would like to own, instruments I've tried, things like that. Mostly my focus is going to be on guitars, which is why I'm calling it the Guitar Workshop, but I do have some experience with bass, a little bit with keyboards, a little bit with drums. So we'll have, the discussion will be open for all of those, but most of it will stick to guitar. And I'll do things on the guitars. These won't be tutorials. This isn't going to be a situation where you will have a chance to necessarily learn from me, though you may pick up some things on what I do. But the goal is not to be a tutorial. It's more going to be, this is just what I'm doing while we talk. So I might be changing pickups on a guitar. I might be restringing the guitar. I might be trying out some different pedals or effects. So I'll do some of that. It's not going to be a performance-focused stream either. So, it's not going to be me up on the screen here just playing requests and playing originals and things like that. It's not going to be that focused. Will I do that? Maybe. There might be some playtime along the way. But it's more going to be just the talking about instruments, talking about music, and things like that. So, without further ado, and I'm not normally going to have this soundtrack that we got going on in the background. I'm going to actually fade that out and kill that, because it's not really going to be about that soundtrack. So, primarily, hopefully we can get some music that relates, and if we're allowed to use it. So, we will wait and see. If I'm going to be able to use more relevant music as opposed to trying to hunt down royalty-free or copyright-free music. Maybe I'll play some of my own stuff in the background, but the shows are typically the last half hour, so you can probably expect that from there. So without further ado, what I'll do is this first one is I'm going to show a few of my guitars that I own and guitars that you'll see in the various shows. Like I said, the shows might last 15 minutes to a half hour, 45 minutes. It really all depends on what the content is. So, but so I'll show some of the guitars that I own. I own several. I'm not going to go over all of them. Probably only half of them tonight. And but you'll get to know some of the others as time goes on. And I'm not going to go into too great detail about them, other than just what they are, so you can know what I have. So. And some of them need some cleaning, so you have to get used to the fingerprints. So this is my acoustic. So this is a Luna Gypsy. It's a quilt ash top, Sitka body, and it does have electronics. There's a plug there. Electronics. Right there. So it's got an EQ and a volume if it is plugged in. And I've used it plugged in, and it records nicely, but it's mostly I like it for its ability to be big sounding. It's not like a dreadnought style. It is a cutaway, but it's got a huge bottom. Concert, auditorium hall style guitars are sometimes called that, acoustics. So, and they have these big bottom ends. So when the sound goes through the hole, it just reverberates through and comes back out, and you get nice, deep, rich sounds. I do usually use a pick. I am actually working on finger picking, and I'm not very good at it. So it's something I'm practicing. Style of music that I mostly play lately has been country and blues styles. Mostly just typical things that fall within a 12-bar blues fashion. So your typical, little shuffles. And I'll just pretty much do stuff like that. And it's so shuffles, things like that is mostly what I've been playing lately. Some of my experiences I'll talk about throughout the streams, just to have some show content, would come down to a lot of rock was my early origins when I first started learning to play guitar in the late 80s, early 90s. So the music that would have been popular on guitar rock radio of those days is probably what you'll hear. You'll find is what my early influences are. So, but that guitar was a recent purchase in the last couple of years. I really like it. I tried it out. They're not very expensive. Luna guitars are nice. They're not made in this country, but they're designed in this country. But they're an expensive option for a quality guitar versus spending on, if you want to get a low-end Martin or Taylor or Takamine, which are considered to be some of the higher-end acoustics, you're still looking at several $100s for even a low-end one that's going to be quality. And I compared this one against the $800-900 versions of Martin and Taylor and found that this guitar equaled, or if not sounded better, for half the price or less. So I have a local shop that sells all three brands of those, so Luna, Martin, and Taylor, and I found was able to try all of them, and I compared it against even the pushing $2,000 Taylors and Martins, and though you could definitely tell the difference in that those are quality-wise better, not worth the $1,500 better. And you'll find that a lot. I do own some expensive guitars. I own nothing terribly expensive, but I own some guitars that are a little more expensive. But I also like budget guitars because I like messing around with guitars, as you'll see on the stream. So I like messing around with them for that. So next one that I have that I'll show off for today, the rest are electrics. So this is my Les Paul. So we have a Epiphone Les Paul, similar to what I said earlier about not worth justifying spending a couple $1,000s on an acoustic. Couldn't justify spending $2,500 to $3,000 on a Les Paul. I wanted a Les Paul, and Epiphone has come a long way. This guitar needs new strings bad, but Epiphone's come a long way. So this is a Epiphone Les Paul Standard Plus Top Pro. It's got burst bucker pickups, and it does have, you can split the coils. It's humbucker pickups. You can split the coils to give a single coil sound, and tone volumes there. So it's heavy. It's made of mahogany, and it does have a maple top. So that's where you get the grain of the wood from the maple top. But the body itself is mahogany, so real heavy. Mahogany is heavy wood, but tonally it's great. Maple top helps, but it is heavy. I don't remember how heavy it was when I bought it, what the weight on it was, but I think it's probably 8.5 to 9 pounds, somewhere in that range. I mean, I can really feel it on my neck. So it's one of those guitars that when I play it, it's for a song, and then I'm swapping out to something a little easier. But always wanted a Les Paul, and like I said, I just couldn't justify spending a lot of money on a Gibson one. And in talking with a guy at a local store that I trust, a luthier that I trust, he had been talking up Epiphones a lot, and saying that in recent years he has had more problems doing service work on Gibsons than Epiphones, and that Epiphones have come through really strong. So kind of sold me on that. Like I said, there was no need to spend $3,000 when for $600 you can get a quality guitar that does the job. It needs a little bit of work. So this is a guitar we will probably do some work on, though. It needs a plethora of guitars, Dream Thief? Yes, I would say I have a plethora of guitars. So one of the things we're going to work on in the shop in a future episode will be fixing this toggle switch. In treble mode, it works fine. But in rhythm mode, the tone goes in and out. So there's something wrong with the switch that's not sending the signal to switch. So in doing that, treble mode is your bridge pickup. Rhythm mode is your neck pickup. So something's happening with the neck pickup when I hit that. So that's going to be a future project. So that being said, that is a Les Paul. I'm not going to go over all the guitars today, like I said. I have a dozen or so. But I'll go over the ones I've been playing the most lately. So next are the Fenders. So this is a Fender Stratocaster. This is a 2013. This was the 13? Yeah, 2013. This was the 60th anniversary of the Fender Stratocaster, was a few years back. And Fender released they had their standard Stratocaster that was out. Murder Guitars. Oh, God, you guys are both here. Let's see, is it a Murder Guitars or really playing Meatloaf songs? Well, maybe. I mean, we don't know if it's a Stratocaster or a Telecaster. This is a Stratocaster. This is what they look like. I'll get to a Telecaster in a bit. But anyway, Fender had their standard Telecaster or Stratocasters out at the time, the American Standard. And the American Standard came with custom shop Fat 50s for pickups in the 3 pickup spots. But during the 60th anniversary year, they also released a special edition one, which is this one. And it was called the American Standard Commemorative 60th Anniversary. So, and it comes with a little medallion in the back, the headstock, 60th anniversary, as you can see yourself in the camera there, neck plate cover, and the pickups are they're special made custom shop 1954 pickups. So 1954 was actually the year of the Stratocaster that came out, and the pickups were designed to mimic the 1954 sound. It's got gold hardware, and this thing is stock. Does not have the trem bar in it. I don't use trem. I always keep the guitar flat. Can't really see it there, but I always keep the bridge flat to the body. I don't play with a trem. And that's it. So really nice. This is swamp ash wood, really light. It's like 7 pounds 8 ounces, and the neck is maple with a maple, all maple, so maple fretboard as well. But ash is the body, so really nice there. It's I have a love-hate relationship with it. So necks are not always maple. Most often they are, but necks are not always going to be maple. The Gibson neck is mahogany, so it's not always the case. There are some that are rosewood. I would never get a rosewood neck because rosewood's a very soft wood by comparison to maple. So rosewood would I would worry about it stressing over time. And I'll talk about the anatomy of a neck another day. Why necks? It's good to have a hardwood neck, and so forth. So this is my other Stratocaster, and this was a cheapie. So by comparison, and this was my project guitar. So this guitar was a Squier by Fender Bullet Strat. So Bullet is their cheapest line that they have from the Squier model. So whereas Epiphone is to Gibson, Squier is to Fender. And what I did was I wanted a project guitar. So everything on this guitar, other than the body and the neck, is new. I took everything off that guitar. So the pickups left, all the electronics left, everything on the headstock was removed. The only thing that was left was the physical neck and the body. And I sanded the neck down and it had this, I forget what finish it had, but I didn't like the finish. It was very sticky. So I sanded it completely down and did a thin coat of poly on it, on the fretboard as well. So it gives it a little shine to it, a little protectant. Really nice. I thought I did a good job. I spent a week on the neck. I sanded it down, took everything off. The Squier label and all that ended up sanding away. So I got a sticker that says Fender. I make no claims that this is a Fender. It's just there for decoration. But I put a Fender sticker on it so it looks like a Fender neck. But to prove that it is a Squier, there it says Squier on the back plate. Anyway, this is made of basswood, but the neck is maple. And for the pickups, I put in Dave Murray, Seymour Duncan Dave Murray pickguard set. So that has Dave Murray's guitars from Iron Maiden, and it has 2 hot rail pickups in the bridge and the neck, and a JB Junior, which is the most popular Seymour Duncan pickup there is, used in almost all styles. And that's it. I put self-locking tuners by Grover on the back, and that was a chore. I'll talk about all the work I did on this, but that was a chore because the holes for the tuners that were on there were narrow, so I got a manual. I don't have it within reach, but I got a manual tool to shave out the hole to make the holes bigger so I could fit these tuners in there. But other than that, great guitar. One problem with it, well, not necessarily a problem, but it's thinner in the body than a regular Telecaster, these bullet lines. So because of that, I'm not able to put the back plate back on, because as you can see, this sticks out. I don't know if you can see that. So there it is. You can see it sticks out. The back of the bridge sticks out. So I couldn't put the back plate on it because I replaced the bridge with a American-made bridge, which was longer. So the depth of the body is narrower in the Bullet Strats by about, I don't know, 1/4 of an inch maybe. So there was a problem with that, but it's really no big deal. In fact, a lot of guitarists don't even use the back plate. They'll take it off anyway just to have access to the springs. Other than that, I did put copper tape in there. That's why it's copper color. It's in the back there, and it's completely underneath the fretboard, or the pick guard. The copper helps eliminate any magnetic disturbance that could be caused and cause strange sounds from your guitars. All right, lastly, as long as I don't drop it, is my favorite guitar, and this is a Telecaster. So this is beautiful. They really need to be wiped down. They are dirty, lots of fingerprints. I've been playing them a lot though. This is a American Special Fender American-made Telecaster. It's a 2012, and I used to have a Marshall stack. This looks similar. Well, this being a Telecaster. And that being a Stratocaster. Telecaster. So, but color-wise, yes, very similar. The The Strat has a 2-color burst. This is a 3-color burst. So the 3-color, you get that little red, kind of red orangey tone to it. I like the burst colors. This thing is pretty stock from when I bought it. I did have the pickups changed. These guitars came with Fender's Texas Special pickups, which were really hot. And by hot, I mean noisy. So I ended up having to replace those because they were just too noisy, even when the guitar and the amp settings were clean. When I had distortion or overdrive on, it was so noisy. There was just a lot of buzz, and they were just way overwound, way too loud. So I talked to the luthier at the local shop, and he recommended DiMarzio pickups called the Area T pickups. So that's the brand. The brand is DiMarzio. Area T is the model, and it's an Area T neck pickup, an Area T bridge pickup. The bridge pickup, though, is the hot version of the Area T. But the thing about these is that they are noise canceling, so they don't have the buzz. They're very clean sounding. You can't hear it because that's just acoustically. They're very clean sounding pickups, so you don't get any buzz or anything like that. But they're still hot. Now, why pickups can buzz and not? There's basically they pick up electrical current from the power lines, basically put, and that electrical current is 60 cycle hum that is basically in all power lines. So these, though, I can use distortion or overdrive channels and get a good tone. So two pickups, though, as opposed to the Stratocaster, which has 3. So no middle pickup on these. These are most commonly used in country and rock, jazz. They're used in a lot. They're the most versatile guitar there is, and they sound the best. I think because they're so versatile, you can use them in everything. So turn that off. Yeah, no buzz with these. And the saddles have barrel saddles, the 3-barrel saddles, unlike I don't need that pick. Unlike this, which has individual saddles for each string. With this, 2 strings per saddle, so the strings share the saddle. That adds for interesting gameplay while getting it all in tune and intonated properly, which I'll talk about that in future shows. Go into longer, detailed stories about that. But it adds for better sustain and better color to sound. So, but this is my favorite guitar of all the guitars I own. I sold a Marshall Artist stack so that I could buy this. It was a stack I bought back in high school, and I was no longer planning on playing in a live setting where I'd need a stack. 2 4x10. There were 4x10 speaker cabinets, 2 of those with a huge amp. Way overkill for what I was looking to do. So I traded that in and bought this at a Guitar Center in Rockville, Maryland, because they were the only ones within a 2-hour drive that actually had this color, which is what I wanted. So they tried to sell me a different one, a different model, but I was just sold on this model particularly right away. I wish the pickups weren't so noisy, because I like Texas style pickups. It's just I wish they weren't so noisy. I am thinking about putting them back in just to see, maybe the wiring wasn't very good on them to begin with. I can put in some copper tape to try to see if that helps cancel some of the noise. There's going to be noise. Single coil pickups are going to be noisy versus humbucking pickups. But it's something I'll probably consider doing And that could be something I could do on a stream. I can swap these out, put the other ones in, and we can give it a test run and see how it sounds. If it doesn't sound good, I'll put these back in. So that's that. So those are all the guitars I'm going to show today. We will get into some others that I have. I have, 3 more electrics, another acoustic, and a bass. And I do have another guitar coming in. I can't leave well enough alone. There is this condition that I have where I can't just stop buying guitars. So I have another one coming. And it is I'm not going to say what it is. When it comes in, though, and I think it's coming tomorrow. I think it's getting delivered tomorrow. So if it is, I might do a quick stream tomorrow where I unbox it. So could have an unboxing stream. And we'll do that. I do have plans to put these videos on the Podcast Derby YouTube page. So if you happen to miss a live stream, and I haven't figured out my schedule yet, I just wanted to do this test run to see how it comes off. And like I said, I'm going to work on some graphics and all that stuff over there. And clean up this so it's just not a camera of me. But we are going to try to keep the videos on the YouTube page as they're recorded. Dave's going to be doing some as well about some of the craft work that he does and some of the things that interest him. So I'm going to wrap this one up probably here for today. Next show, will be the unboxing episode of the next guitar I get, and I'll talk about what I'm going to do with that one, and I'll probably go over some discussion on pickups. So if anybody's got questions or thoughts or expertise on guitar pickups, we can have a good discussion about that. And the next, like I said, we'll do the unboxing of the next guitar, and I'll talk about differences between that. The condition is a mathematical formula. It is where your guitar count must always be n+1, where n is the number of guitars. That is exactly it. The amount of guitars I need is always one more than what I own. So, it's like the sign that says like free beer tomorrow. So you always keep coming back, but when you come back, it's not there. So you always keep coming back for that free beer. But I will continue to do these. So these will probably be a once to twice a week type show once I figure out a good schedule and work it out with Dave when he's going to do his show. And we will plus work that out with our Friday show. And you have the same condition with motorcycles. So there's hobbies and there's collectors, and I don't do it for collecting. If I did, I would buy more expensive guitars and save up and buy really fine high-end guitars. I don't think guitar playing is in the instrument, it's in the hands. So I think a good guitarist with a cheap guitar can still make it sound great. I don't think a bad guitarist with a great guitar is going to sound good. So I think there's something to be said about that, and with that in mind, having the ability that I enjoy getting into guitars and getting dirty with them and taking them apart and putting new things in. And what I'll probably do with the stream is it won't always just be the one square that you got here today. You'll have a split screen, so you might have a little one of me up in the corner here, and you'll have a screen where I have a camera, kind of overhead camera for me doing soldering or string changing, things like that. Like I said, the goal of the show is not for me necessarily to teach anything. It's just to have fun conversations about instruments. And I love talking about my guitars. I love talking about guitars. I love talking about music. And I probably have more knowledge than I should about certain bands and instruments. So I like talking about it. I want to talk to people about it. So that's why I want to do this. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up, though. We're getting on 30 minutes, which was actually, I wasn't sure I was going to get to. But that being said, that's good. That's going to be the plan. You can go ahead and follow below and catch mine and Dave's streams as we do them. And you can also hit us up on Facebook or Twitter at Podcast Derby, where you can keep up with any Podcast Derby information there. So that's going to do it. I'm Bryan, and I'll see you all next time.